Hva skjer med at den skal bort? Så kommer det ikke opp noe. Litt irriterende at den PUBG-greia, nei, at OBS-en trykker seg helt opp. Hold det. Survivor! It's you're a survivor. I'm so sick and tired of the constant disconnection with the OBS. It's not gonna do that anymore. Well, I can't say this from this state. It's okay to feel angry. It's a valid experience.
Think past it. Or do you only have the capacity to observe and tell it exactly like it is?
At the moment, that's what I'm having troubles with. I'm saying how it is. I've looked at a lot of options of how to go around it. Like, it is coming in slowly at the moment, and I understand how you're saying it's all building up over here. I'd just like it to come in a bit quicker at the moment.
So let's start at the beginning of your understanding. You accept that you are a vibrational being and that you're emanating a signal that is being responded to.
Yes.
So the question that we want to put to you in a sort of blunt way is the signal that you're offering happening only because of what you're observing, or mostly because of what you're observing? If you're like most people, pretty much.
Yeah.
So is there another way? When we're talking about your grid, we're talking about your point of attraction. When we ask you about your grid or your point of attraction, and we ask you about well-being, does well-being only include money?
Bye, kitty.
No, it's
So you could improve your grid by leaving the money out and talking about other forms of well-being that are coming to you. You could even observe other forms of well-being that are coming to you. Or you could imagine. So talk to us a little bit about some other forms of well-being that are coming to you. Tell us about your stability. Tell us about the well-being of your experience.
Well, the well-being is I've got a beautiful wife, 3 lovely children, live on rural acreage, a business that's doing well.
All right, now stop there just for a little bit and settle into that. Doesn't that feel nice? Doesn't that feel nice? He has a beautiful family. He lives on acreage. Doesn't that feel nice?
Yes.
Don't you want to savor that just a little bit? Don't you want to let that be a stronger point of attraction? Now, there's something that we said to you earlier, to all of you, but you might have missed it a little bit. So we're just going to go back over it, because there's a piece in here that once you get it, everything will begin to click into place for you. We explained to you that there are 3 steps to the process. Step 1 is ask. Do you think that through what you've been living, that you've been asking for more financial abundance?
Yes, it's on my goal.
For sure,
sheet.
for sure,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
So you've satisfied step 1 many, many, many times over. And we can tell you with certainty that your vortex is abundant with more than you have time to spend in this or 20 lifetimes. We're not kidding you. There's abundance that is there. So step 2, do you remember it? That's the part where source and law of attraction, your inner being, gather up all the cooperative components. And so the path has already been laid out.
Okay.
So step 3 is you just have to find a way to not do that thing you do that blocks it. And the thing that you do that blocks it is talk about the money that isn't there. Now, when you talk about the well-being other than the money that is there, you're not blocking it. When you're talking about the beautiful day it is today, you're not blocking it. When you're talking about the well-being of this planet, when you're talking about the Earth spinning in its orbit, when you're talking about the food that is being grown around the planet, there are all kinds of things that you could talk about that would not be in the way, that would not cause you to beat the drum of and hold a vibrational frequency that holds apart from you what you want. You just have to leave the money out of the equation for a little while, or focus upon it in a way that allows more of it to come. Appreciating what does come always brings more. Noticing the shortage that isn't enough always holds it away. What most people don't understand is that every subject is 2 subjects, wanted and absence of wanted. So when you pick up the stick of money that has plenty of it on one end and not enough of it on the other, where you've been practicing it, Esther picked up the stick of a carry-on bag in Australia. She picked it up and it was vibrating right where she last left it. And it showed her where she last left it. What a tricky little thing that was.
Yeah.
It showed her exactly where she had left it, you see. Now, wasn't a big thing. Probably wasn't a big enough thing that she'll even do anything about it. And next year when she comes back to see you, they'll take her scissors again. But when you realize that what's coming to you is always coming in vibrational response to what you've got going on, and that you can do something about it. So what happens to some is that they say, oh, I need to be very positive about money. So they begin talking about money. I want more money. I'll find ways of making more money. And they don't realize that every time they invoke the word money, that they're actually activating the vibration of it where it is. So the more you talk about what you want from a place of not feeling that you've got enough of it, the more you practice the vibration that doesn't let it in. Isn't that tricky? So what do? Do I not talk about it? Yeah, don't talk about it unless you feel good.
Yeah.
If you see someone who is abundant and it makes your heart sing, then look at them and talk about it.
Don't swear
If you
like
see
that.
someone who's abundant and it
That's
makes
not
you
good.
feel
I'm
defeated
doing it
or
because I have
uneasy
problems.
or jealous, then turn your attention to something else. If you
Working through
feel
my
worried,
problem.
it's your indicator that right now in that moment, you have an opposing opinion to the source within you. And that's really something worth talking about. Did you know that about your negative emotion? Every time you feel it, every time you feel worried or angry, every time you feel any negative emotion, it always means the same thing. What you're thinking right here, right now, about whatever it is, the source within you is right here, right now, having a thought about that same thing with you. Did you know that? Because you never separate yourself from that. You are always an extension of source. So source is always right there with you, right there, with source knowing about the very subject that you are focused upon, knowing about your abundance, knowing about your request, knowing about your worthiness, knowing about the
potato
process
chip.
to bring it about, knowing for sure that it is coming. And when you have that feeling that feels like doubt, all it means is you got crossways of what's really known about that. So stop it. Helpful?
Yes, thank you very much.
There's something more that we'd like to say to you, because this is a topic that a lot of people are feeling around, and whether this is a topic that is important to you or not, the process is the same. And that is, if you can get more general about the topic, and that's what we were doing when we were talking about well-being in general.
I'm sure I
If you can
saw
get
that.
more general about it, if you could say things to yourself, and you can't make stuff up that you don't mean. You have to feel around for stuff that you mean that feels good. Can you hear the difference? You can't just say, oh, I'm not worried about money when you're worried about money, and do anything that changes your vibration. But you can find thoughts that make you feel better. Thoughts like, I'm good at what I do, and I'm good when I focus. You are, aren't you?
Yes.
And I apply myself very well. And I believe that law of attraction abounds. You do, don't you?
Yes.
And I know that I'm a vibrational being. And I accept that I've gathered a lot of abundance that is looking for a way into my experience. Now, we want to give you something else here. How do you feel about this vibrational reality that we are calling a vortex? We like it, whether you do or not.
Yeah, I don't know what you're
So
saying.
here's this
I'm
vortex,
seeing,
this
like,
vortex
something like
that is spinning in this high, pure,
stuff in
positive
it.
place with abundance and well-being of all manner there for you. And here you are, in whatever state you're in, offering a vibrational frequency that has you spinning too. But the question
I don't
is,
know what they say
if your
on
abundance
spinning.
is here and you are here,
Why wouldn't you
then
just stand still?
this cannot flow easily into your grid. You've got to bring yourself up to speed with that, you see. So you have to find
Stillness
some way
is
of
pretty
not
awesome.
doing whatever you're doing that's holding the vibration down. So when you realize that, when you sort of kind of know, when you begin to believe, when you actually know that
That's
there
a
is a
Butch
vibrational
Clinton
version
jump.
of it, and all you have to do is find the frequency of it. Now, here's where we always like to get a little detailed and explicit in explaining something to our human friends. Your vibration and you don't know it. And that's what makes it hard for you to manifest easily. If we could just zap you, we can't, but if we could, we would, but we can't. If we could just zap you with an awareness that you are vibrational beings and that everything you see is a vibrational interpretation. Now, you're all doing such a good job of interpreting vibration that you've created this reality that you are, for the most part, in agreement about, but you are living very different worlds, one from another, and you don't realize that either, because you can't perceive beyond your own perception. So we're touching, and this is this new place that we promised you that we would go this evening. We want you to understand that when you are focused upon the vibrational nature of your being, and when you care about how you feel, which is the way you monitor what you're doing vibrationally, so that you reach for better and better feelings by choosing better and better feeling thoughts. And it takes some practice. You're not going to do it all at once. What happens is, as your frequencies match what's in your vortex and what's in your point of attraction or your grid, now what's in your vortex moves seamlessly into your grid. You call that inspiration. You call it a really good idea. It's where you get this hunch or this impulse to do something, to stop here, to go there, to drive there, to turn here. In other words, all kinds of manifestations begin to be, and these are the key words that we really want you to hear, begin to be realized by you, realized by you. In other words, the only thing that stands between you and what you want ever is your vibrational interpretation of it. You have to know that. When you look around this world, this action-oriented world, the difference in the way so many of you are approaching life, you have to know that there's something more in the equation than just the action that you've been offering. And when you accept that you are vibrational, and you conjure images in your mind of this vibrational version, and you work in order to allow yourself to come into vibrational frequency with it, and you feel the relief as your vibration raises and you blend with the whole of who you are. And then, as the manifestations are realized by you, you never again wonder how it is that you create your own reality. And you never again feel unworthy or incapable of accomplishing anything that you set your mind to, you see. When we say set your mind to, we mean feel your way to. Feel your way to. It's really fun for us to acknowledge what's in your vortex. And it is enormously satisfying for us to feel the vibrational alignment that you have achieved just in this little bit of time that we've been talking together. It is our absolute promise to you that you cannot have moved vibrationally in the way that you have. You cannot have improved the vibrational relationship between your grid and your vortex and not have evidence come fast. When it comes, acknowledge how it has been so. And then remind yourself, you don't need Abraham to have this discussion. You know what to do. You all do. It's just a matter of deciding if you want to do it enough to do it, you say. Really good. Yeah?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do you know that you are vibrational beings? Do you like it? You like the contrast that stirs things up? You like launching new desires? You like having desires even before they manifest? Yeah?
I want to talk to you about things that appear to come out of the blue, that are so unexpected. I should say I've been to your workshops twice before, and each time it was manifesting money was the most important thing. And I successfully raised my vibration that I was very comfortable, quite happy. What I'm asking for now is something that money can't buy, because...
we would like to take money completely out of the equation altogether, because you have a vibrational credit limit or credit line that is never ending. It's the vibration.
He's going for that one too.
Not the money.
And I had a wonderful lifestyle. I was in a partnership with a man who was 20 years older than me, and we had both been widowed around the same time. So we had supported each other very well. We were soulmates, and we enjoyed travel and walking on the beaches and collecting artworks and food and wine. Beautiful lifestyle. I was very secure, very happy, was very loving.
Remember, she said was.
Just extraordinarily comfortable and easy, and everybody envied it. And I had no
Anybody
problems.
feeling the big butt coming up?
Because she said was,
Yeah.
that's a but.
It was a huge
If
butt.
she said just... it wouldn't
6
be a
months
but.
ago, he announced one day, I mean, we were walking along one day holding hands, and he, very loving, really, really loving, and the next day he informed me that he was leaving. And he started packing up his stuff and left. And I mean, within a few weeks, he was basically saying, oh, I don't know what was going through my head, that kind of stuff, you know. But a lot of damage was done to me in that case. It's trust. And I had no issue with trust before. I never talked about trust. It wasn't my conversation. It wasn't anything like that. And in my vortex is the trusting version of me, and I can't line up with it. People introduce me to... They all have friends that they want to introduce me to, and my first thing is, oh God, I'm never going to trust again here. And I'm finding that so difficult because it just came out of the blue. I have never had any problems with trust before in my life, ever. I was a very trusting person. I never had anything done to me that created an idea in my head that I was lacking trust, and I wasn't having a conversation about trust. I was having...
Well, we want to cut you off here a little bit, because what you're basically saying to us, and we certainly understand where you're coming from, is, so Abraham, you're talking about this law of attraction thing, and something happened to me that I cannot find anything in my vibration that supports it. Why would something come to me that I had no awareness of? And we say, well, first, let's just be clear that it happens all the time, that things happen that people don't have awareness of because they're not vibrationally aware of what they're doing in relationship with what's in their vortex. We said earlier that as you've been living life, you've been putting all kinds of things into that vortex, and that the culmination of them equals something really extraordinary, and that when you come into vibrational alignment with it, that extraordinary experience is what you are living. So we want to start at a more general basis place, because there's something that we have to establish first before any conversation that we're going to have with you is going to make any sense to you really. And Esther's experienced some of this too with Jerry's recent reemergence into non-physical. She didn't realize, and you didn't realize either, how much of her well-being was coming to her as a result of her observation of things that were good. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's lovely to have a nice life that you're observing that is the basis for the perpetuating of more of that. But the security that you are looking for, the freedom that you are looking for, does not come from another person who is standing next to you or standing with you. It comes from one place and one place only. And that is from your conscious, not your unconscious, your conscious alignment with the source that is within you. And so it's a very common thing for teachers like you. It's a very common thing for people to move around this planet. In fact, almost everybody is. It's the thing that most relationships are built on. And it goes something like, I stand here in my singularity and I am less than I want to be. So I'd like to couple up with someone else in order to shore myself up. In fact, I'd like to partner up in some significant way. It's the reason that humans often gather together in groups. It's the reason that you believe that you need more numbers in order to battle against things that are unwanted. But it is a flawed premise of your life experience, and it is not where trust comes from. If trust is something that you feel that you are now looking for as a result of this that you have lived, we want you to feel the awakening of that new desire within you. And we want you to understand that that trust, that alignment, comes from one place and one place only. And that is alignment with that which you are. So we know that there are details of your experience. We know that there are things about it that were wonderful. We know that there are things about it that can be more. That's always the case. But we also know about you and everyone else, by the way, that what you're really reaching for in the absolute freedom and trust and stability and security, that what you're reaching for is that definable and accomplishable alignment with the source within you, you see. So anytime you can look to anyone ever and say to them, because of what you have done, I have lost my sense of well-being, we have to say that there was something more that needed to be established. And we know people don't want to hear it, and we don't want to say it. In fact, we never do say it because you are not being assigned lessons. Because nothing could ever come to you if there were not a vortex version of it. Nothing could ever come to you if you have not launched it. In other words, this is not something that has come to you because of something that you have done wrong. This is something that is happening with you, happening to you as a result of the expansion that you are reaching for. When you reach for and find a sense of stability that is not based upon someone else standing next to you, now you are ready to finally begin creating the life experience that you've come to live. Now, we're not encouraging you to get rid of your partners. That's not what this conversation is about. But we are strongly encouraging you not to count on them for all of the things that you count on. It's part of the reason that relationships are so hard for so many of you. You say to them, because of this thing that you've done, I feel this way, and you need to be different than you are so that I can feel better. And that is a bondage that you apply to yourself, because not only is it not their responsibility, they cannot be the way you need them to be. And we know this feels like it's a really big and basic thing. In other words, I'm not asking for everything. I'm just asking for them not to run off. That doesn't seem like so much. It seems sort of like the agreement that we had. But we want you to understand that in the disappearing, temporarily disappearing, of the trust and the stability that you thought you were accomplishing by looking for it in another person. You now have the opportunity to look for it and find it where it really is. And once you do, and only when you do, will you be standing in the place that you've put into your vortex so many times. In other words, last time you got left in another way. You launched a powerful rocket to never find yourself standing in that place again.
That's right.
And so it is something that was active in your vibration. It isn't.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.